Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Can you all hear me, please? I want to confirm that I'm very audible.
Good afternoon.
All right.
Yes.
All right, then. Thank you very much. So, good afternoon once again, and welcome back. Happy New Year, and welcome to 2026. So, it feels really good to say this, right? So, if this is your first time joining us this year, you're very much welcome. And if you have been with us before, thank you for coming back because it really means a lot. So, this year, our plan is simple. It's going to be ushering or giving better content, bigger sessions, and more hands-on learning. Less theory, more demos, less talking, and more building. So as always, this Azure series is all about breaking things down step by step. We want you to actually see how things are done, not just hear about them. So feel free to relax, ask questions, and flow along because this is a learning space. So now let's talk about today's session. So we are diving into something very practical, which is Azure Linux virtual machines. So by the end of today, you'll see how a Linux machine or a Linux virtual machine is created on Azure step by step. There's no magic there, no shortcuts, just clear explanations and light demo. So if you have ever thought of maybe Linux on Azure, it sounds scary or it looks hard, don't worry, today we'll change that perspective. So to take us through this session, we have Mr. Paul Uberefo, he's a Microsoft valuable professional, and he's also a cloud computing engineer. So he's someone who knows his way around Azure and enjoys teaching it clearly and simply. So he'll be walking us through the creation of Azure Linux virtual machine from start to finish. So without taking more of your time, please help me welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Paul Uberefo. Paul, over to you. Thank you very much.
That was so sweet. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, we'll go into it straight up. And thank you very much for the intro, for the hypes. You know, it's a lot, really. It is. Yeah. So this is not our first time meeting. We've dealt with some other topics. We've talked about. The last time we talked about the IAM role. Before that time, we've had Madam Titi also taking us on Azure policy over session on the basic understanding of cloud. The basic concept in general. We've also talked about the virtual machine. We've talked about resource group. We've talked about virtual network. And then the last time we talked about virtual machines, what we actually dealt with was the Windows virtual machine, which a lot of cloud beginners are very, very used to. So today we are taking up also virtual machine, but not this time around. It's not going to be Windows. However, it's still going to be a beginner-friendly one on Linux. So I actually had a slide that I intend to share, but along the line I felt okay, there might not be need for wait. Yeah, we are just going to be doing less talking, as our able moderator has said. First of all, I'm going to share my screen now, and then we go straight into one of our virtual machine that we've had before, because unfortunately I am having issue with the machine that I ought to have used for this session. So we'll be using one of those VM that was pulled in this environment, just so we can do something in it. It's even very good that it's happening this way. So I'm just going to select a subscription from here, and then I'll check the resource groups. Okay, it's starting already. So yeah, the last time we actually talked about Windows virtual machine, and this is just one of them on Azure, which we are going to use in the course of this demonstration. But while this is even starting, let's even talk about Linux. When we talk about Linux virtual machine, what are we really talking about? You see, if you check most of our AI tools this day, they'll tell you that Linux virtual machine is an open source operating system that is based on Unix principles, right? It manages computers, hardware, software resources, and allow users to manage files, run application, perform system tasks, and a whole lot of grammars like that. That is true. But basically, in most times, Linux machine are just like your normal machine, your normal Windows machine as well. The difference this time around is most cases they make use of command lines for interactions with the users. While of course it also has is GUI, right? I will show us to. I think I have one machine like that. So yeah, since this one is even started, I'll just go ahead and open this. You remember, if you want to, okay, this is the save. If you want to connect to your VM, you make do use of the RODP, right? RODP. I just hope I still remember this password, but even if I don't, I'll be able to reset it. Okay. And let me just quickly reset this. This is one management actions you can take up while using the Azure virtual machine. Generally, whether it's Linux, whether it's Windows, you can always come around to try to reset the password to how it pleases you, right? So I'm just going up by end to do this again. I'm updating. I'll just wait for it to finish up. So it's still loading. For Linux now, they can use it to do a whole lot of stuff because of the use case in terms of command line stuff like even DevOps, for application development, for pipelines, also for containerization. Talk about Kubernetes. You can use the Linux VM for a whole lot of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, this is completed. I'll just go ahead to try to enter. I think I'll need to sign in with another user. Yeah, I need to use another user. I think that is where the issue even comes about. That is the username. And then the password. Go ahead to do this. Okay. Yeah. So our VM is up. Let me even check if I have any VM here that is in a normal client machine that is not a server. Do I have any? No, I don't have any. Anyways, that is not an issue. I think we have RODP here, right? Okay. So yeah, I will go ahead again and just sign into my Azure environment from this VM. So just take this as your normal machine. So this is where we are doing our demo today. Yeah, we are here. So I'm just closing out this and I'm closing out this. First, one thing I want you to know, I've been talking about Linux virtual machine and we've basically talked about what is support, right? Talking about the command line and also I talked about the GUI. Because I have some that are running on the environment already, I'll just quickly show you around. Okay, so I'll just go to my virtual machines and see what we have here. I have two here. You see Ubuntu, we see Ubuntu. So when we talk about Linux, Linux is not just limited to Ubuntu. We have various other distros. They call them distribution, right? Like images. We have several other images that they can use. We have the one for CentOS. We have a Debian. We have Ubuntu. We still have more, yeah. But yeah, for the purpose of this lecture, we'll be making use of the Ubuntu, right? So this is one that I have set up. And as you can see, it is currently running, and this is its public IP. So now, I think for this particular one, I have downloaded, there is what we call the software and how you can eventually download them to access it. We have different methods of accessing them, right? So now, for this particular one, we'll just try to, I'm only just going to show us the GUI parts, and then we'll move to creating. After that, we'll now do how to access from the normal. We're using the terminals and the rest. So this is the normal GUI. From here I can sign in. This is my username. I can do this. Yeah. So I can sign in. Okay. Yeah. So it's coming up. That is where I stopped while I was trying to work on this particular environment. So this is the desktop software that I have installed and enabled for this particular machine. If I want to check other things, for example, files and all, You see, this is just, normal GUI you can interact with directly as a person. Like for a beginner, talking about file manager, this is file manager, for example. I think there's a particular file here, this home, there's a particular file that, if you check this, my folder, I think I created this using the GUI. Sorry, using the command line. So whatsoever you do in the command line will eventually come up to show you. But before you have this, you must have probably installed the, desktop software using the command line. That is when you can now have this interface showing up like this, right? And then you would also enable what we call SRODP. There's a command for wait. Maybe I would just drop them at the end of the day. I'm actually working on the document that has all of these details. So hopefully I get to share the document, and when I do, it might just get to you, and from there you can just pick it up with it. It's probably going to be a blog anyway, but then I believe it will be useful at the end of the day. Yeah, so how do we create VM? Like we said before, there are various ways by which we can create VM. Well, you can literally go anyhow you want to do it, but I feel the easiest way is just to come to this your general search bar, and then you search for virtual machine, you search for VM, whichever one virtual machine will come up, and then hey, you can just click on this create. What do you want to create? You want to create a virtual machine. Right, so when you hit on it, you give it a little time for it to come up. Don't forget, we still have virtual machine skill set, preset, hybrid configuration. But yeah, we are just doing virtual machine. Okay, so normally, I know we've done this, but let's see and go again. They want to ask you which subscription do you want to use and where do you want to create it. So this is the subscription we have been using, and I think we have a resource group that we use. Yeah, this is a series. So what will be the name of our VM? One name should we give it? Let's just go with Azure series 2026. And then, of course, you want to choose the availability option. We have various types. We have the skill set, we have the availability set. These are different topics we'll probably take on a different date. For this case, we are talking about availability zone. And then we'll choose a region for we. We are going to stick with, West Europe. Then the zone 1, security type. There is standard, there is trusted virtual machine, there is confidential virtual machine. But we are making use of this, right? You can go ahead and read more. You see this protected against persistent advanced attacks on generation 2, VM with configurable features like scale, secure boot, and the virtual trusted platform module. And this standard just, basic level of security of your VM. All right, so here we want to choose our image, right? You can see our image in case the image you want is not here. So like I said, we are sticking with Ubuntu server. So we'll just click on that. Let's see if it will go. Okay. Yeah, the architecture, of course, x64. This size, here you can come and pick the size of the VM that you want to use. And now you see that this size is not available in zone 1, zone 3 is supported. So they are telling you literally that zone 1 cannot work. So you can just switch it to zone 3, and then you have this up. So the virtual machine we are having up now, the size will be it will be having 2 vCores and 8 gig RAM. That is what it will be having. So yeah, we can just, for the purpose of this test, go with it. Now, this is where it really matters. You see administrator's accounts. Here you talked about authentication type. There are 2 ways you can actually authenticate to your Ubuntu virtual machine after creation. One is the SSH public key. Now, this SSH public key, you will not be needing a password to remote into it. What you'll be needing is that public key. And there are different methods how you can remote to them as well. There's what we call putc and putcgen. There's the terminal that you can use to remote into them. So eventually, maybe we'll just end up creating 2, or probably switching this to password later on. So from there, you just go ahead and choose a name, right? A username. So I will just do series. I think that works. And then yes, generate new key pair, or use existing key stored in Azure, or use existing public key. But in our case, we are generating a new key. Now, key type that you want to use, right? These are based on security level still. For example, now you see that the EDIF 25519 provides a fixed security level of no more than 128 bits for 256-bit key, while ROSA could offer better security with keys longer than 3072 bits, right? So basically, it's just about the security and the bits. But for the purpose of this, session, we are sticking with ED255 19 format. Now, coming here, this is where you select your ports that you want to open for this VM. If you click down, you see that you have the HTTPS 443, which is secure internet, and then you have HTTP 80, which is the still true internet, but this time around not secure. Now, this is an import port. After creation, you can go to network setting. From that network setting, you can go and open port 3389. That is the only way you'll now be able to remove to the GUI virtual machine, that the GUI version of it having installed the desktop software, right? So from here, we just hit on next. Here we select the disk that we want. How many gig do you want to give this particular machine? In this case, let's just click with 218. Is it SSD? Is it standard SSD? Is it premium? Is it HDD? Let's just stick with the best, which is premium SSD. Now, if I'm deleting the VM, what should happen to this disk? I want it to delete it alongside the disk. Now, the key management, you can have either platform managed or customer managed. You see that here for our customer managed key now, it is great because you have no available disk description set with a customer managed key in this environment. So obviously this will not work. Platform managed key means that Microsoft will be the one to be, in charge of that management. That is that. We pick that. Okay, so from here we can next, and here talks about the connectivity, talking about network, the version network you want to use. I think we had some version network before. Okay, these are the ones created for the VM before now, like for Ubuntu VM. That's what I mean. But this time around, we are sticking with this. It's a new one. You can go ahead and say no, you don't want it of this. You want to create your own and make it suit it. Make it suit your network design, or probably the name, whichever way. At the end of the day, it falls down to design. Subnet, we talked about subnet, which is subdivision of our entire network into smaller manageable networks. From here, you want to choose how you want your network to be structured, and of course, public IP, which will be what you'll be using to remote into it at the end of the day. As you can see, all these are new. As you are changing this, the network, the virtual network itself, the subnet as well would be changing based on how you define your IP address range. The public IP, they'll still give you, if you want to create new, that will now be speaking more to just changing the name basically, because everything here is just as it is, and then you hit on OK. Maybe you want to do PIP, home IP, and then I'll just do OK. I'm getting a bit confused as the environment I'm using. So load balancer, we are not going to choose any load balancer at this time. These also will be a different topics on their own that would, treat in subsequent time. So management, you want to talk about identity. If you want to enable system assign manage identity for the VM, if you want to use Microsoft Entra ID for the login, this here you assign roles and permission to the user you want. Auto shuts down. Do you want your VM to be shutting down at a certain point when it's not being in use? For example, in this case now, every 7 p.m. it will shut down. Then the time zone that it will be shutting down. You see, this is 7 p.m. but this is UTC, not West Africa, right? It's not +1, so the time may actually vary. So maybe this email, I want them to be sending me email before the shut is down. I can check so that I don't want my mailbox to be full and all of that. But that is just the basic things you need from there. Monitoring alerts. You talk about diagnosis, what's happening, but don't worry yourself about all of this. Enable managed storage account is recommended, and we are picking it. So from here, we can literally just hit on create, review and create. Yes, you can just let this go as well. We are just starting tags. We know the use of tags to help us attach this particular VM to its use, maybe by department or by user or by purpose. At the end of the day, we'll be able to use this same filter to probably track the usage and what is costing us in the environment. We can use all of that. So review and create. So don't forget, this first one we created, we made the use of the SSH key. Yes, it's telling us already. So from here, it's just trying to run validation. After that validation, the validation is passed. We can now review everything that you have selected. This is a warning that, hey, you have this open to internet and all. So I can just go ahead and then I'll hit on create. Something will happen, and that is because this is SSH. What is going to happen is going to tell me to download a private key and create, resource. So I want to download. First thing I will do is to download while that is trying to, finish up. And if you notice, the file that is downloaded, the key file that is downloaded is .pem, right? .pem. This is where putting and putgen comes in. Now this .pem is just the key in entirety. If you want to remote into this particular machine using the terminal, then you will need to go and copy the path that this thing is downloaded, this particular file. But if you want to use the putty, you have to use puttygen. First of all, we can say putty generator to generate or convert this particular format of .pem to ppk, just so you can use it to sign in. Because that key, once it's downloaded, you cannot get it again on the portal. You download it once and then you save it with everything possible. And then I'll just move it to my desktop. That's what I'll do. Unfortunately, okay, thank God it's even fast. All right. Okay, we have our private key downloaded. One thing I would love to show you is how the key really looks like. Yeah, this is what it looks like. But you don't even need to open it or whatsoever. You just try as much as possible to just keep it clean, just so you don't, mess around with it. All right, so one thing I want to do quickly is to quickly open the properties and then go to security and copy these parts, right? I've highlighted it and I've copied it. Now, from here, I'm going back to my VMs. I'm expecting that particular VM should be in the list of the VMs that we now have here, right? Here we have, it's running. And from here, another thing I want to do, I can click on this, connect. I will enter connect. This is also very important. You see, this is how you remote into it. SSH, hi, you put your private key part here, and then the name of the VM, the username rather, the username at the public IP. This is the public IP. That is how it looks like. So from here, right, you can just click on this edit. Once you hit on this edit, you come here. They are giving you an example already how the file path should look like. Then you can just do paste. I already copied that particular path. So once you do that, it automatically takes the full connection command based on your provided directory for your private key. So you can either copy or you save the changes. If you save it, what happens is anytime you come to connect, you will have it up here. It has all the username and the rest. So just closing that, you see it up here. So from here, you can go to terminal. And one thing you must know is you open your terminal as an administrator. Once that is done, you enter it like this. You have copied it. This is the full command, and then you hit on enter. So are you sure you want to continue connecting? Let me say yes, and then yeah, permanently added to the list of hosts. Okay, no error. So our VM is connected. Like this, we are into our VM already. What then can we do with this? Let's just play with some commands. What can we really do? Right? Maybe the first thing I will want us to do is, okay, rather than creating anything, I think we can just hold on. We'll make use of that, which I have already connected to, install the desktop GUI, the software, right? So, but yeah, we are here now. You can literally say ls, and then you give a -l. So when you do ls will list the files and directories in the current directory. So, for example, now there is no directory here. It's just giving a total of 0. This is the information. So let's just try to say mkdir, let's say Azure series. This is me creating a folder, right? That is a folder. If I do cd Azure series and I hit enter, I'm expecting it to be here. So now we are currently in this folder. If we as well do ls again, sorry, ls-l, right, it will still give us 0. Now let's do cd ... Then it returns us back to home page. Now let's do ls-l. Let's see. Now you see that it's giving us details. Initially it was 0, right, which is from here. But from here now it's now giving us 4. Why? Because we now have a folder or file that is existing inside of that folder. So it needs to give you, the detail of what is included in that particular directory. And yeah, you can as well create files. Yeah, if I do ls is listing the items that are there for me, which is Azure series. Now let me go back to Azure series. right? Azure series. Let's try to create, what do we create this time around? Let's create a file. Let's just say touch, right? File.txt, right? When we do this, now we are creating this under Azure series. Yeah, we have created that. Okay, so now that we have created a file.txt, we want to list, let's go back to, okay, we want to list the items. You see that this one now, it was only saying, okay, ls, this is what it contains, right? So yeah, let's do ls, let's see what we have. This time around, what we have is what? File.txt. If we go ahead to do ron space file.txt, and then we enter, what I've just done is I have deleted this file. It's no longer existing. If I go ahead to say ls now, I'm expecting it to give me 0 results. You see now that it is 0. This is you normally creating, going to your folder, right clicking, saying new folder, right? And then you say you want to create this and you want to create that. Now that txt, right? We know that is a text document, just like your normal notepad. Now, since it's your normal notepad, what if you now want to insert stuff into it? Let's try to create another one. Touch file.txt, right? And then we do nano file.txt. Now, if I enter, right, it has come. Yeah, now if I say this is Azure series, you are welcome. I say you are welcome. This is me like saving stuff inside that particular document, like our normal notepad. All right, and then I can just give it a space and stuff. Let's say I want to save this. All I just need to do is to do Control. All right, so this is what is contained in that particular text. So yeah, let's just close down this. Let's close this down, this terminal. Let's try to see how we can create that of password. Right, if you come, I'm not going to hit on create in this case because we have one running. That one we'll just try. Okay, I will still try to remote or download putty and puttygen. Right, so yeah, I think what is important and the only difference is right, you want to choose which authentication method you want to be using. If you hit on password, right, you provide the username. If you provide a name, you give it the password. Once you give it a password, you go ahead and then you give it the password again. That is just the difference, right? They have to, match. So they are not matching. However, that is just the basic difference in the two. Now, before we even remove to that, that particular one, let's try and download putty and puttygen. How do we go about this? Yeah, I'll just go ahead and say puttygen. Yeah, let's start. We can actually start with putty, whichever one. So for puttygen, you have to scroll down. Be careful as you go. Check these names here to be sure of which you are downloading. Yeah, here we go, puttygen, and this is a 64-bit. So I'm just going to download it, and of course, in a matter of seconds, it should be up. Let's just treat this and then we move. So for puttygen now, we have the .pem file already. I have opened puttygen, right? What I want to do is to convert. And in that case, you come to conversion. You do import key because you need to import the key that you want to convert. So yeah, I come to desktop. You see the Azure series .pem key. So this one is what we want to convert to .ppt. Right now, you need to come and select the key, the type of key that you want to generate. Remember, when we're creating this VM, we make use of the EDDSC, right? ED55 25519, which we have here, 255-bit. We actually have the RSA if it was the option you used, but this is what we used, right? So from here, if you want to put in comments, if you want to passphrase it, you can do the passphrase. I mean, you lock in it, because of security as well. But in this case, we just go ahead to say save private key, and then they will definitely want you. Do you want to go ahead without passphrase to protect it? Yes, we want to. Right, then you now go and save it. What do you want to save it? We take note of this putty private key files .ppk, right? Because the putty always only take the .ppk files. So you can rename it to be let's do Azure series, and then I'll just hit on save. Now that is done. The next thing is to open putty. Okay, so this is putty. Please, you take note of how I downloaded this now, right? So you just install and then you finish. Okay, because this is sticky to open the README guide and the rest. Let it just come up. So what I downloaded before was the ARM template, and what we needed was this x86. Please take note, x86. This is the 4-bit x86. So I'm going to open putty. So this is putc, right? First thing you want to do is to go and guess the public IP address. So you copy the public IP address, you come and then you paste it here. Once you paste it, the next thing that you need to come and look for where you have connection. Usually this should be like this, right? This should be like this, just in case you find them like this. Okay, you need to look for this connection. From connection, you look for SSH, and then you look for authentication, and then you hit on credentials. Here you see private key for authentication. Just browse and come to desktop or wherever you save your PPK files. This is it. You select. You see there's only what is available there. The PM was not showing. Now from here, right, I can literally click on open and I will have my machine up. But I need to go back to session. What I want to do now is to save this particular session, just so anytime I need to, sign in again, I don't need to go over this process again. Okay, let's do this. Let's be very practical. So from here, even from authentication from anywhere, because I have uploaded it, I can literally come anywhere at all. It doesn't matter where I am. And then if I hit on open and then I accept, it's up. Right? Who am I logging as? Who am I logging as? What's the name again? So now let's assume I don't know the name. I can come to help and then you see the set password here. Once you hit on it, you will see the username, which is series. This is what you are using to sign in. You just do series, right? You enter, it's authenticated, and your machine is up. If I do ls now, you see that it has Azure series, which is the folder we created before, right? If I do ls, it gives us the same thing, the details of this directory. And if I do cd and I do Azure series, it takes me to that directory. And if I do ls from here, it gives me file.txt, right? If we do cat dot file.txt, we didn't do all of those things here, right? But if I enter, you still see it. This is Azure series. You are welcome. And if I do nano Azure series, sorry, file.txt rather, file.txt, and I enter, you see it here. You see, I can now come to say, this is on putty. Now, if I do this and I enter again, Control O, and then I hit on enter, and then I do X, and then I do cat. Yeah, you see it now, it is updated. This is on putty. All right, this is just this. So let's say I'm closing down putty, and I'm going to my terminal. I'm on my terminal, right? And then I want to do cat file.txt. This was what we have, and I enter. You see now that it is updated again. That is the machine for you. Anything is on cloud, so it moves along with each other whatsoever you are doing within it. All right. So for this particular one that has password, right, we are just going back to our virtual machine. Now, if you come to our virtual machine, if you come here, right, and you come to connect, and you do connect, look at something. This one requires password. You see now that it doesn't require private key part again. There is no password private key. This is just doing SSH. This is the username, right? And this is the private public IP. You can literally just hit on this, right? For Linux, the commands are case sensitive. So small letter L and S and capital letter L and S can be different. So did I copy anything? Okay. So I'm just doing SSH for load of this, and I'll just hit on enter. They are just asking if I trust, and then I'll say yes. And then the next thing is password. Mind you, as you are typing the password, you are not meant to see it, but you're actually typing something. And then you can now hit on enter. And here we go. Here we go. We are here. This same guy you are seeing here is not different from this guy that is here. I'm signing in with the same password, the same credentials. Now let's just create some things here. You remember I was using this username, and that is the same username I'm having there, right? Here, come up for me. Right. So I will enter it again. Okay, now look at it. Which folder is this? Let's go to my folder. So my folder is empty here. Let's come to this guy. Now I will do ls Let's see what we have. Okay, these are all the folders that we have, right? It's just listing all the folders for you, right? If I do ls.lh, right, this will give you a more readable format. There's something that changed. This one now you are seeing 4096, but in this case you are seeing 4.0k. But that is not a bone of contention. So let's just move straight to my folder cd, my folder, and I enter. Now I want to create a file. Let's create a file in this particular folder. So from here we'll do touch. We do text.txt, right? Okay, so let's check if it's up here. You see now, it's already here. It's open, right? Now let's see. Sudo text.txt. I'm using sudo. There are keys that are sudo actually, but not sudo that I wanted to use. I want to use nano text.txt. If I do this and I'll say hello Linux. This time around now is GUI versus CLI. And I'll do Control O and then I will enter and then I will exit, right? Let's come to the GUI and see what it entails. So file has changed on disk, right? This guy changes and reload. Let's reload and see. You see now it is up here, and this is GUI for you, but this is just a normal text, right? You can navigate, move around. Now let's try with rename first of all. So what are we renaming? Let's rename the file. Let's just close this out and rename it from the GUI, right? And from this place rather. If I do env, I do text.txt and I give it a space, and then I do text dot. Am I even using text? Okay, it's okay. txt. Let's now do file. Let's do file, and I enter. Let's come here to check. It has changed. Like this is just how it works, right? Nothing like there is no rocket science in it. The fact that it has, if I was to come here to start doing this, I'll probably want to do this. I'll do rename, and then let's change this back to text from here, and then I hit on rename. Now it's not text or CST. Meanwhile, it used to be file here. If I should do, let's do ls. If I should do ls and I enter, you see that there's a file here now. It has changed to text.txt. That is the power of Linux virtual machine. You can remote this one now. Putty. I don't know how Putty wants to work with this, but obviously it doesn't have a key pair. So let's say we want to even try something out. What can we achieve? This is Putty. Okay, let's make do use of the public IP only. Let's see what will happen. Remember, we don't have any key anywhere. We are just, opening. And it says yes. Now look at what it will ask me. What am I signing in as? Follow. Then password. You see that I just take this follow at this. Yeah, password. What is the password? So my machine should be coming up with my password. If my credentials are correct. Oh, I missed that. Okay, don't worry. Access denied. Let's not just worry about that, but that is how it will come up. And yeah, lest I forget, yes, coming back to Putty. Coming back to Putty. I told us before that I don't want to start all over again, coming up and coming to connection all the time, SSH, auth, and then credentials, and then I'll begin to browse to get these, and then I'll need to go back to the session to go and bring up the public IP, which is this. There's a public IP, which is this all the time. So all I need to do is, once I'm here, I'll just come to save sessions. I'll give it a name, Azure Series 2026, right? And then I'll just click on save. Automatically it comes here. So I can come here and do load, or I will do open. So it's up, login as a series, right? Okay, it's up. Now let's try and go back again. I'm closing the session. Putty. You see now that here is empty, but at any point I come here, I can just hit on here, hit on that, and then I'll do this, and it will go. Let me sign in again, right? Let me just series, and it will go, right? I can come to Putty again, I can come to PuTTY again, hit here, click on load, then it will give me the public IP address, and then I'll go ahead and it's still up. Right? Yeah, that is it. Seamless, easy, and good to go. All right, I think this is where I'll draw the jump and the meeting. Time is fast going, and I've promised not to stay very long, and I hope I'm keeping up to time. So, should you have any question, I know there are a lot of time consumed. Yeah, should you have any question, anything, please, I think it's time. And don't forget the same management on Azure. The difference will now be management or administration. You know, Linux administration will be quite different from Windows administration. But trust me, GUI is good to begin with. But the CLI, if you can be good in it, I mean, it will do you a lot good. It is fast, it is more secured, it is easy, not too complex, and because of those orchestration that you can do in there, it can make your work very, very seamless. And trust me, Linux has a whole lot of industry relevance. Yeah, and again, don't forget, it is not only Ubuntu. We have a lot of I think I've been where with a partner where we went to install CentOS before. I think I have written an exam where a lot of questions come around Red Hat OS before. And then Ubuntu, of course, we are used to Ubuntu. There are several others, right? Several others. So, yeah, the command line access through terminal, which we have seen, is more faster. You don't need to do double clicking. All you need is a command, and then you are done. And more powerful in terms of orchestration, automation, and yeah, people that are good, automating scripts, they prefer it. They prefer it much more than you can ever imagine compared to the GUI. So before I take the show with much more talks again, I think we are good here.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. This was really an insightful session. However, we have Gaius' hand up. I think there's a question from him. You can speak, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I wanted to ask. So you made use of PuTTY. I wanted to, is it like a terminal on its own, or I don't know.
PuTTY is a terminal on its own. Yes, I would agree.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry, and also I wanted to know those that is Azure only supports Ubuntu as Linux environment.
No. If we should come to virtual machines now, let's just pretend or assume we want to create another one. Where are we selecting? Okay, here we are. If you say see all image, there are a lot of images here. This is for Ubuntu. If you click here now, you see several versions of Ubuntu, right? Server. And this is for Windows 11 and those. You see Red Hat. Red Hat is Linux. Look at it here. Red Hat Enterprise Linux. You can go and select. You see the versions are even more. We have this is SQL. Okay, this is Ubuntu. And if you check this Ubuntu, they have different kinds. These are plans including Ubuntu Pro. So see this Debian. Debian is one of Linux VM2. This is Debian. You see this one, Arman Linux. So this is another one. This is Oracle Linux. So there are, look at them now. This is just page 1 out of 569 pages. So there are a lot of OS you can use in Azure, not just limited to Ubuntu. This is CentOS, right? Yeah. Are we good?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Any other?
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for this clear and practical session. Thank you very much, Gaius, also for your question. Do you have any other question? Okay. So thank you to everyone that joined. Thank you for staying to the end. Thank you for this impactful session once again, Mr. Paul Ogorefo. So this is just the beginning, just like I said at the beginning of this session, that this is just the beginning of everything we have planned for 2026. So more sessions, more hands-on demos, deeper Azure topics coming your way. So please stay connected, practice what you've learned today, and watch out for next sessions. So thank you very much again for being.
Thank you.
You can go on.
Talking about parties, this brought me to a very important aspect of it. I know we give Gaius access to a subscription, of which he had tried at some point, though I've not been seeing anything going on from his end, basically. And Olorushola, please, can you confirm if you will be needing access as well, just so we can get yours ready too?
Yes, I wouldn't mind, sir, so that I can practice also. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very important. So we'll get you, just keep me updated, right? Just follow up, yeah? We'll get your
Okay,
accounts
sir.
ready and access so you can practice. Guys, please, yeah? Please. And again, the documents I'm working on, the blog I'm working on, I will as well share with you guys, yeah? Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you
Wait,
very
sorry,
much.
please.
Okay, go ahead, please.
With this, we share the recording.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Sure, it
Thank
would. It will. So you can go through it, and in case you have any questions, you can just send it to us, and we are ready to always answer and attend to your questions. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being part of the Azure series. Do have a great day, everyone, and see you in the next session.